Week 3, top-notch talk here with Coach Brandon Smith, head coach of South Warren. Big win this week at DuPont Manual, 27-17. Just give us your overall thoughts on how the game went.
I think you hit the nail on the head. It was a big win for us. Manual's got a long-standing tradition of being one of the top programs in the state, and I don't think this year is any different. So, to be able to go on the road and pull off that victory was a big accomplishment. It should be a big confidence booster for our players going forward.
So, offensive side of the ball, had 314 total yards, 75 rushing yards, 239 pass yards, 27 points. Quarterback, Camden Page, 16 of 28, 239 pass yards, 2 pass touchdowns. Rushing the ball looked a little different from last week. Had 75 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. But Caden York had a big game again, 56 yards rushing, 3 receptions for 67 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown, 123 total yards of offense. How big of an impact has Caden had so far this year through 2 games?
Caden's had a tremendous start to the year. You kind of thought he would. He had a great off season. He had a great junior year, and then he's kind of our guy coming back, and he has to fill that role of being the guy, the one that the people know coming into the games, and the ones that the other teams are going to prepare for. And that's a tough situation when you're in that role, and then you still got to produce. And through 2 games, he's done a tremendous job of producing. And I think he's made his biggest plays both games when we needed it most. When we needed to respond with a touchdown, second half, things of that nature. So I'm really impressed with the job he's done so far.
Wide receiver Jay Carter had 4 receptions, 46 yards, and a touchdown. Griffin Reynolds, 6 receptions, 62 yards. So it looked like quarterback protects the ball pretty well. He's pretty efficient again this week. So last week the offense had 230 rushing yards. This week they only had 75. What kind of in-game adjustments have to be made when you're not able to move the ball on the ground like you want to?
Yeah, I think we didn't. We really didn't play that well offensively. I thought defensively those guys played their heart out. They had an outstanding game, and then offensively we really weren't clicking. We had in what we call an MA, a missed assignment, on like 40% of the snaps, where basically someone does the wrong thing. They're not doing what they're actually supposed to do on the play, and so that makes it tough. And they're really good on defense, and it was a grind to run the ball. And so we had to resort to some other things, but the thing that I told them, aside from all that, at the end of the day, the second half, they really kicked it in and never got pretty offensively, but they started making plays when they had to make plays, and they had some big plays and responded. Every time they scored, we responded. So that's a sign of a good team.
Yeah, defense side of the ball. Obviously, looking back at the stats, there was a lot of people had big games. Dre Moore, 7 total tackles, 5 solo, 2 assisted, 1 forced fumble. Taquan Darden, 9 total tackles, 5 solo, 4 assisted, 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 1 fumble recovery, 3 pass breakups. And then Jacquez Smith, 8 total tackles, 5 solo, 3 assisted, 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble. So obviously a big game from the defense, only allowing 17 points, less than 100 yards rushing. Last week we talked about Manuel's running back, and you thought he might be one of the best in the state. How was the defense able to have success against that run game, hold them to less than 100 yards rushing?
Yeah, I thought like I said, the defense played the tails off. They played extremely hard. Was everything perfect? No, but you could definitely tell the effort and the desire to win the game. And as you said, Big Keese, up there in the middle, had a heck of a game. He made a lot of plays. I thought you brought up TK. TK made a lot of plays all over the field. And really, it was a group effort. I mean, there wasn't anybody where you say, they let us down or they had a bad game. I mean, there was, if you go through the film, there's, all 11 guys are making big plays and big moments. That's a sign of a good unit, But I was really most impressed with, the effort and the desire to win and getting to the ball and those type of things. But there's no question that side of the ball kept us in the game.
Yeah, so the defense was able to put pressure on their quarterback, having 7 sacks. How big a factor did that play, especially being on the environment, kind of like we talked about last week, that Manual had, being a bigger school and having that good running back? How big of a factor did that play?
that was really impressive because the quarterback is really good. He's a really good player, and I couldn't tackle that kid if me and him were in a phone booth. He is really quick, and a really good player. So I would have never guessed, that we would have been able to get to him that many times before the game. So that was a big factor in the game.
So upcoming game this week, Greenwood Gators. They're 2-0 this year, coming off a 21-6 win against Warren East. What are your expectations going into this game?
Well, it's going to be a little bit different for us. We've been traveling, 2.5 hours, 2 hours to these games, and now we got a 5-minute bus ride, and they're going to know the players, they're going to know the people at the game. It's a community game, so those games always have a little bit different feel to them. The atmosphere is always a little bit more intense. It's usually bigger crowds. And so that's the first one of those we've had this year. So, it's going to be enjoyable. It's exciting to play in those environments. I think the kids are excited, to play here in town and not get on the bus. But Greenwood's, like you said, they started off strong. I think they played really well on defense, kind of similar to us. Very sound. That's the strength of the team. And the offense, they've got that grinded out. We're going to get 3 or 4 yards in a cloud of dust type thing, shorten the game. That's their game plan. And we haven't really faced anybody like that yet, so it's going to be a little bit different environment and prep for this week.
So fan question of the week comes from Jessica Chevalier. Question is, what is your approach to building and maintaining a positive team culture, and has your approach changed throughout the years?
Man, that is a good question. I don't know this. It's got a whole lot to do with it, and I think in terms of changing throughout the years, I might have said things that I believe that was the most important thing, but I don't know if I acted on it. But the longer I've done this, team chemistry and team culture are everything, and that's got to be the priority. And I think what's probably changed over the years is now I act on that. You talk to our kids, that's all I talk about all the time is team chemistry, team culture. Without that, nothing else really matters. Everybody's got cool plays.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what makes the difference. It's your chemistry and your culture within your team, and that's the foundation. So, yeah, good question.
All right, so this next segment is top-notch players of the week. Offensive player of the game is Caden York. 18 rushing attempts, 56 yards rushing, 3.1 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns, 3 receptions, 67 yards, 1 receiving touchdown, 123 total yards of offense. And then the defensive player game, Jacquez Smith, 8 total tackles, 5 solo, 3 assisted, 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble. What did you see? Obviously, there's a lot of stats here, so it's kind of obvious. But what did you see personally that made you nominate them for the player of the games?
Yeah, like I said, Caden had a tremendous game, and he made his plays when we needed it most. Offensively, when it wasn't the prettiest night for us, he was grinding out, fighting for extra yards. Make big plays in big moments, and then Keese was really impressive. We had some injuries up front, so we actually asked Keese to play a little offense. So he took a few snaps on offense, and then every snap on defense, and by the end of the game he was exhausted. He gave everything he had, but he made some really big plays and big moments as well.
Well, that wraps it up for week 3 of Top Notch Talk. Don't forget, we're giving away a free unit at the end of the year. So in order to be in contention to win that, you have to like and share every single coach's video that we do to win that. Also, don't forget to leave a comment on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you see this on all socials. Whatever question wins, they'll get a free 7 Brew gift card. And then some other things we're doing at Top Notch right now, our club memberships going into the heating season. The weather's about to change. The first month is free. So we'll come out, give you a heat and tune-up on your unit, make sure all the heat and everything's going good. And after that, it's a monthly payment. So that's what we're doing right now at Top Notch. So like, subscribe, comment, whatever we need to do to share the video.